In this video, we'll be processing the forgot password request that is coming from our user. We'll be processing it on the server. Okay. In our last video, we were able to create this forgot password page. We created the form, and we were able to do the front end validation of data of the form. Okay. So now in this video, we'll be processing that request on the server. All right. But before we go ahead to process the request on the server, I want us to make a simple changes to this error message. This is the default error message that is coming from Zod. All right, I want us to make it much more friendly. Okay, so to do that, we are going to go to this point where we validated the email address, and then we are going to provide a custom message. So we are going to add address to the custom message. So if you retry this now, okay, so we are going to have a valid email address as the error message. Okay, and in our last video, we were able to discover that the structure of the error object that is coming from Zod in this scenario, where is it? Okay, the error message that is coming in this scenario is different from the structure that we've always had. So in this scenario, we are not going to be having these emails attributes in our error structure. So we are just going to get rid of the email property. Okay, so we can also simplify this by cutting this out and deleting all of this. Okay, so we can just paste that here. Okay, this is the structure of the error we are expecting. So this also works for our current scenario. Okay, so now we can go ahead. It still works. If you test your form, it still works as expected. Okay, so and if you now provide a valid email address, you are going to have a success response. This was the message that we provided from our server as a dummy message. Okay, now we are going to go to our forgot password server action, and like we've always done, the first thing to do when you are getting data from the front end is to first validate your data. Okay, so that you know that your user is providing the correct data. Okay, so here we are going to have the same structure as we have in our front end. So I'm just going to copy the data validation from here. Okay, no need to type what we've typed once. Okay, so I'm going to paste that. I need to import this from Zod. Okay, we can just get rid of this. We'll be writing out, or I should just cut it. Okay, we'll be writing that as a response. So what we are going to be providing is a raw data. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this console log. All right, now here we are going to check if the validation is not successful. We're going to have if success is not true. If success is not true, then we are going to be returning an error response to our user. So we're going to have return. Okay, so we're going to have an object with success attribute, which is going to be false or right, and then we're also going to have a message to accompany our response. So here we're going to say, let me just paste what I cut the other time. It's going to be invalid response. So what is the problem here? I need one here. Okay, so that is that for that. Now if the email provided by the user is valid, the next thing to do now is to check our database if we have an account with that email address. So we are going to have a try catch block because we are going to be making a synchronous call to our database. So here we are going to check if the user is available in our database. Okay, so here we are going to wait. Then we are going to import our database connection pool. Okay, so we are going to have pool.query. Okay, we are just making a simple call here, so we don't need to get a dedicated connection. We're just going to use any connection that is available in our database pool. Okay, so the structure of data we are expecting is just the user ID, which is going to be of data type number. Okay, we need to invoke this. So this is where we are going to write our query. Okay, so we need to get our user, select ID, then from users table. Okay, so here we are going to write our where clause where the email of our user is equal to the email we are going to provide as a parameter, and the user has a local authentication method as any of the values in the auth providers array. Okay, so that is going to be our query. We only need the user ID. Okay, now we need to provide the user provided email, which is the validated email. Okay, so that works for that. I'm going to save that. So that is going to get the user for us. If there is a user with that email in a database. Okay, so first thing we're going to do after getting the user is to check if there is an available user with that email. Okay, so we're going to say if users dot length. Okay, if the length of the array we are getting from our database is 0, that means there is no user with that email in our database. So what we are going to do is we are going to be returning a tricky response. Okay, because we don't want malicious users to be able to detect the kind of emails we have in our database. Okay, so even if there is no user with that email in our database, we are still going to return a success response, okay, to prevent enumeration attacks. All right, there are times that malicious users will write out some emails and begin to test them one after the other to see the emails that you have in your application. So even if the email is not existing, we are going to be sending a success response, okay, just so that they cannot predict the emails that we have in our database. Okay, so we're going to be telling the user that password reset email sent successfully. Please check your inbox. Even if there is no user with that email and we actually did not send any password reset email to the user. All right, now we are going to, so if this check was passed, that means there is an existing user with that email in an address in our database. Okay, so here we are going to get the user ID from what we got from our database. So we're going to have users. Okay, the first object dot ID. Okay, then we're going to create a random token that we're going to use as the password reset token. So we're going to create it using random bytes, and we're going to be using 64 random bytes like we've always used. Okay, so we need to convert it to string. All right, using hexadecimal representation. Okay, so that's going to create a random password reset token. So after creating the token, we need to store the token in a database. Okay, before we send the reset email to the user. All right, so we are going to have an insert query here to save the token in a database. Okay, so here we are going to insert, okay, into password reset table. We created this table earlier on when we were dealing with a schema migration. Okay, we created this table to store reset token like this. Okay, so inside of the table, we're going to be storing the user ID. Okay, we're also going to store the token and the expiration time of the token, which is inside the expires at column. Now we need to provide the values, okay, that will be stored in those columns. Okay, so the user ID, we are going to provide that as a parameter. All right, the reset token, we're also going to provide that as a parameter. All right, and the expiration time is going to be 10 minutes, so it's going to be the current time plus 10 minutes interval. So we're going to have interval string 10 minutes. Okay, now just in case there is an existing password reset entry for that user in our database, so that is going to cause conflict because the user ID is supposed to be unique. So if there is a conflict, we're going to be performing updates. So if there is a conflict on the user ID column, then we are going to do updates rather than inserting. Okay, so do updates, set what do we want to update. We want to update the token to be excluded. dot excluded dot token. Okay, and the expiration time, we need to update the expiration time. Expires at is going to be excluded dot expires at. Okay, so that's going to insert or update the entry. Okay, now we need to provide the user email, the user ID, and the token. All right, so after creating the entry in our database, now we need to send the password reset email to our user. Okay, we've done something like this when we are dealing with that should be resend verification. Okay, let's go to resend verification. I'm just going to copy the transporter rather than retyping all of this. We just make modifications to this. So we need to send the password reset email. We're going to import this from env server. What did I do? I'm going to import this. Okay, so this is going to reset password page, not verify email now. Okay, and we need to import our transporter. So I'm going to import that. Okay, so who are we sending this to? We are sending it to the user provided email. Okay, so we're going to provide that, and we're not going to be using this email template. We are going to be using the password reset template. Where is it? Let's go to our email template. Okay, password reset. Okay, so this is the template we'll be using. So we'll be importing this in our forgot password server action. I'm going to paste that. Okay, so let me import the template. Okay, so I'm going to paste that here, paste that here. Okay, so that is going to send the password reset email alongside the token to our user. Okay, so after sending that, we are going to return a success response because we've created the reset token, we've created the entry in our database, we've also sent the email to the user. Now we are going to provide the success response. I can just grab this without needing to retype all of that. So I'm just going to change the message rather than saying something. We are going to pass a proper message. I'm going to say password reset email sent. Okay, so we have a please check your inbox. Okay, so that's going to be that for the try part. Now let's undo our possible errors. We will not be needing this. Let's get rid of that. I'm just going to return an error response. So I'm going to say return, going to have an object. Success is going to be false. Am I not having suggestion? And our message. Okay, the reason why I'm not having suggestions is because we did not define a returned data type. We don't need to define that anymore. We've already gotten to the end of the function, so TypeScript is going to infer the returned data type. So here we're going to say an error okay, so that's going to work for that. So if you hover your server action, now you are going to see that TypeScript is going to infer the returned data type. Sources is Boolean and message is string. It inferred that from all of these returned data type. Okay, so that's that for the forgot password. Okay, so we can test that now. Let's go. I'm going to provide my email. Okay, let me submit processing. Okay, an error occurred while processing your request. Let me try again. What could be the error? Okay, an error occurred again. Okay, so let's come here and log our error. I hope I didn't make typo errors when we were typing a query. Okay, so I'm going to log this console.log. All right, error. So I'm going to save that. Let me open my console. Okay, so what is the source of the problem? Okay, so what are we having here? Okay, I know I already suggested that it is possible, has to do with my query. Syntax error at near $2. Okay, it has to do with my query. That is one thing with SQL. You know, there is no when you are using string like this at line 35, there is no IntelliSense or any syntax highlights that you can use to guess possibly you've written something that is not correct. We should be fine with that. I'm going to test this once again. An error still occurred. What is the error? Do we have another? Okay, so this is where the error is. There is supposed to be a comma there. Okay. So let's try this one more. There should be no error anymore. All right, so now our password reset me has been sent successfully, so we can now go ahead and check our inbox. Okay, I'm going to check my inbox. Okay, so should have it here. All right, so we have the password reset email. Okay, so if the user click on this, they will be directed to the reset password page with which we've not created. All right, so as from our next video, we'll be working on the password reset page. Okay, we are supposed to have a 404 error response, not that. Okay, this is also undefined. There is still an error in our application. Okay, we are supposed to pass the confirm link. Okay, this is the confirm link. Let's check our email templates. Email template. Okay, email template, password reset. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is expecting reset link. That is an error that comes from copy and pasting. Okay, sorry about that. So this is expecting reset link. You know, we just copied this from uh from uh recent verification server action. So sorry about all of that. So we need to, so this is going to be an undefined link. Okay, that is why we're having undefined there. All right, so if we retry this now, we are supposed to have a normal valid reset link. Okay, so let's check our email once again. Let me refresh this. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now we have our link. So if we click on this now, we are supposed to have a 404 page, because currently we've not created a reset password page where we are going to be having the form that the user can provide their new password. So we'll be dealing with all of that in our next video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for subscribing. See you in the next one.